Live streaming is on.
But recording certainly is better than not recording.
Yeah. But her computer is making a lot of problems, and I need to get another way of recording, because the one I was using before, I don't know, with Jitsi, because I'm always with the headphones, and before on Hangout he was recording the sound. Now on Jitsi it's not recording the sound. I don't understand.
Well, you can always go over all of the recording options. That's our model. So there should be at least a half a dozen different options.
Yeah.
It's not about having just one single option. It's about having a bunch of options so that we can figure out something that works for each person.
Yeah, I know. There's many options. Just...
Well, let's take a look at our topics.
So one second, Jay. It's okay like this, the spreadsheet, the template.
Well, I just moved it over to be in a list form. And if it's done correctly, it doesn't need to be highlighted.
Yeah, if it's done correctly, what happens is once the instruction is there, link the session notes to one of the files listed in the below list. This I just put it here, right? Because this is the applicable one for this session. Then link the file here and highlight in green, right? So what happens is that you would take this, put it here, and then once you link the, I mean, this you should do before, right? So you open this, you link the notes, right? And then you highlight it in green.
I don't understand why you highlight it in green.
Because so we know it's there, that it's been linked.
But it would be highlighted in yellow if it's not. So it would just be like at the top, you have the sheet link right there, like that. I mean, I think you could assign to have both of them. I don't know why I just have one of them, but yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. Me and Laura and I were always then when we were doing that, because so we knew that one of us did it, because sometimes we were doing 2 times. I was going into the team doc, and I would see that she already had linked it. So when it's
but that's why it's highlighted yellow.
Yeah, but yellow to me means that there's something that needs to be done.
Yeah, exactly. You need to link the correct sheet at the top of the page. That's exactly the point.
Correct.
And then when it's done, you unhighlight it so it's not yellow anymore.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So we just unhighlight.
Yeah, you just unhighlight it once you complete it, right? That's the idea. Like, you don't have to leave it yellow. The yellow just implies it wasn't done.
Perfect. Okay.
That's why it's yellow.
Yeah. Instead of highlighting in green, you just what is unhighlight? Unhighlight.
Unhighlight once the work is done. Exactly.
Right. Okay, perfect. So it's, I link the sessions.
Cool.
So these were the topics from our last session, which was not really planning. It was more like getting into the umbrella website. So if you want, I can get the topics from our last session that we did on planning.
We don't have a last planning session, so this is the first time.
With the new schedule, yes.
Anyways, I'll just start down here on line 25. Okay, so I would say that we have, review list of sub trajectories, and then go over list of segments / priorities for planning. I mean, those are the top two. Other things I could think about would be like, a timeline. I don't know. Goals. I don't know if that's applicable, but and I think it's important to understand that this is not the prime trajectory. The prime trajectory is the umbrella website launch, umbrella showcase website.
Website. Yeah.
Right. So it's important just to note that when we talk about the prime trajectory, we don't talk about the prime trajectory being a thing, right? The prime trajectory is the umbrella showcase website launch.
Yeah.
The prime trajectory.
Absolutely.
And I guess technically the focus here is the, I don't know, we don't have a
planning and coordination.
Like SB, a sub trajectory, right? Is the launch planning coordination, right? So, I mean, I think the first two things that we shouldn't take very long, like 5 to 10 minutes going over the list of sub-trajectories, and then, 5 to 10 minutes going over the list of all the different segments. And then from there, we can do a view up and figure out what we want to focus on next.
Yeah, correct. I would have liked, but I think we can do it in the view up. I wanted to have a topic focused on sensing and segmentation for sure. So the timeline would be basically review the plan, because I mean the plan, we did a very short plan, very little, just an introduction. We can expand that.
What plan?
We did a little Prim planning, but it's very little, just an introduction. Part of it we already started. I don't know if we want to have a more detailed plan, or then it goes into the sub trajectory. Right? Because from there we went into the sub trajectories. I think the timeline is good.
Okay, but I mean, I guess I'm a little confused. But I mean, obviously we could have the overall plan for the website launch, right? I guess that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
That sound good? I mean, I don't know, but I'm just not sure if that's what we want to focus on, because we have some of that already going. We have the trajectories that we want to
Exactly.
do.
We already have it going, basically. Yeah.
I mean, one of the interesting things about the trajectory model is it makes the planning much simpler, because all you have to do is get the trajectory started, and then once the trajectory is started, the trajectory should take care of itself in terms of getting to the end goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have to plan out every single step, every single time, every single day new. It's like you just do it once, and then you just follow the trajectory, and then it should get it done.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it actually significantly simplifies the planning process.
Okay.
So for me, my focus is really getting into the actual the segments on, or the sub trajectory of the planning and coordination. Yeah, that's what I want to get into.
All right, sounds good.
Which I think is the schedule. For me, I think the schedule might be the top priority. So maybe we could add that as like a third topic.
Okay.
Because I think that's what we said we were going to do today. Is today we would check on the rest of the schedule for the week.
Yeah, that would be great. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I would go ahead and propose these 3 topics. desired outcome for the first topic is, make sure we are not missing anything. And, get organized on our trajectories. Over the list of segment priorities, so there's like, quick overview of the planning and coordination sub-trajectory.
Mhm.
And the schedule, finish finalizing the schedule for the week.
Sounds good. Okay, I agree to the topics.
All right, so shall we get started?
Yeah. So
Do we have the link to the management sheet?
yeah. So
I guess
for the moment, I copied and pasted the subtrajectory here, but I'm not sure if it's the right place. But for the moment, they're here. Yeah.
I
So
don't understand what you're saying.
for the moment, I copied the notes where we listed the subtrajectories here, but maybe it's not the right one. It's copy of topic 2 priority.
And this is view only. But again, like when you write the
on.
let's view only. When you write the prime trajectory management, right? It doesn't make sense because when we change whatever the prime trajectory is going to be, and we change it to be a different prime trajectory, it doesn't change the actual trajectory. It just change what's trajectory is the prime trajectory. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's no such thing as prime trajectory management. Do you get what I'm saying or no? Because every trajectory can be a prime trajectory. You understand?
So how would you call that?
Like I did before, it's the Umbrella Showcase website launch trajectory management coordination and tactical ops spreadsheet, right? So
Okay.
the prime trajectory is the website launch, right? For the Umbrella Showcase website. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
So anytime we change to a new trajectory, we would have a new management spreadsheet. Like we wouldn't use this same one for a different trajectory. It wouldn't make any sense.
All right.
And we really only need one planning spreadsheet for each prime trajectory, and most other trajectories would just go on our overall spreadsheet. We don't really, because I think 2 spreadsheets should be more than enough for all trajectories. That makes sense.
Yeah. We have this, and we have the FQ view trajectory spreadsheet where we said we're just going to list the trajectories.
Yeah.
Organize.
Okay, so
So
criteria, schedule, prime planning.
So here you can find the sub-trajectory. I can copy and paste them in our notes, which we already listed. It's a lot. You want me to copy and paste all of this in our
Maybe
notes?
there's only like 5 or 6. Line 107 to 105 to 113.
Okay, but some of them we already expanded.
What does that mean?
Branding and identity. So there is
Identity trajectory. There's only the one. It's a sub trajectory on identity.
Mm-hmm.
So what's
this is the list for sure. Mm-hmm. So I'm just gonna copy and paste this for the moment, right? Your notes. Yeah. All right.
I did copy it.
Yeah. Identity. Brand and identity, right? Yeah. Okay. identity. Okay.
By brand and identity.
Client coordination, multimedia session. Okay.
But why brand and identity?
They're related, no? Brand and identity.
Well, I mean, I think we can call it whatever we want to, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, our identity is like our brand, right? What we're selling.
Yeah. Right. I mean, if you want to make your own list, you can make your own list. I just want to try to simplify this as much as possible. So we have basically, you know, you have like the launch trajectory, the identity trajectory. I guess the showcase trajectory. I don't know if that makes much sense. SVG trajectory, sponsorship. I would just say coordination and multimedia, right?
So you said the trajectory should be as detailed as possible in the name. You meant only the prime trajectory. So sub trajectory should be very, very simple.
No, we can call it whatever we want to.
Yeah, but what's the guideline? Want to keep it detailed, or want to leave it like just one word, like here?
We want to have it be whatever we can agree to, right? So
Okay, so here I would add definitely the I don't know, other income sources or trajectory. I don't know if it makes sense. I don't know where this would go.
what is that? What is it that we're talking about? Other income sources?
Like as we said, like the grants, the fundraising. Well, grants goes under SVG, right? All right, so this is okay. So
But I thought
fundraising.
we chose not to do that, right? Instead of focusing on income, we're focusing on the website launch.
Yeah, absolutely. Which should showcase all the income that we're developing, or the income sources that we're developing.
Well, that would go into the showcase, right? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, let me delete these. So I think it might help to get into like some details, details / description for each one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could be helpful.
Okay. What do you mean by segments?
The segments would be equivalent to like, topics or subcategories or like sub trajectories in relationship to an umbrella trajectory.
Okay.
Does that sort of make sense? Or like a normal trajectory has sub trajectories and a sub trajectory has segments. So if you turned
Okay.
a sub trajectory into a normal trajectory, every single segment would become a sub trajectory. Does that make sense?
All right. Yes. Mm-hmm. So sub trajectories have segments. All right.
Or you could call them priorities. Priorities is another term that we use, but
We wanna. Right. Makes sense. We wanna put priorities now segments because they are, as you said, now that the priorities would like follow more of a linear path, one after the other. So they're all on the same trajectory.
Yeah. So I think overall, it's like when you utilize the concept of a segment in relationship to the trajectory,
Mm-hmm.
trajectories have like segments as they move along through in essence, the trajectory, right? You have you're moving along the trajectory and you have all these segments, and so
Yeah.
when you take a sub-trajectory up to a normal trajectory or like a full trajectory, it's going to be all the segments basically become their own sub-trajectories.
Okay.
Anyway, so I just want to like spend a minute just to get some description of details going on for each one of these, so we kind of know what the purpose is.
Okay.
So the first one, the Umbrella Showcase website, is basically like the sub-trajectory for the prime trajectory. So every prime, let's just say full trajectory would have its own sub-trajectory. Does that make sense?
Every full trajectory would have its own sub-trajectory. Every full trajectory, you mean every normal trajectory or umbrella?
Yeah, I like the term full. I don't know, umbrella trajectory, full trajectory, sub-trajectory. I mean,
Yeah, normal. I agree.
normal just doesn't sound right.
That's
Full is kind of weird. Like primary, I don't like the idea of a primary because we're already using for the prime trajectories means something different, Middle sounds kind of weird. So I would say either full or like a middle trajectory, You have umbrella trajectories, you got sub trajectories, and then you have normal trajectories, just like a trajectory, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what we want to call it, like full, middle. We'll find a good name eventually, but whatever. Okay.
So we have umbrella, we have sub-trajectories.
Umbrella, sub-trajectories, and then either full or middle or whatever we want to call them. I wrote it right here, line G. Right?
All right.
Like a normal trajectory. I don't know. We can just call it normal trajectory.
Normal, it's. I agree with you. It doesn't sound very right.
Let me check at the source. Okay. An ordinary, a regular. A typical, average. Routine, standard.
Workflow trajectory.
Doesn't make much sense because everything is work. Standard.
Standard.
We're just looking for like an adjective as opposed to like a noun.
And think about it. Main.
Main is we use that a lot for like organizations and main sessions and main, So it's possible. I mean, we can add it to our list. Main. Center.
Capital.
Middle. Say, what was it? What did you say?
Capital trajectory.
Capital? I don't know. common, mean, median.
Common is because each trajectory is different, right? So common is average, typical, ordinary, regular. I mean, to me,
Yeah, all those. I kind of like ordinary. It's like an ordinary trajectory. It's just a trajectory. It's like whatever. Anyways, we'll figure it out. Let's keep going through the details. So again, so the subtrajectory for the prime trajectory is basically you always have a place, like every umbrella trajectory has its own ordinary trajectory, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's, and then every ordinary trajectory has its own subtrajectory, right?
But has multiple ordinary trajectories or just one?
What?
Like every subtrajectory has its ordinary trajectory or trajectories, ordinary trajectories.
No, every umbrella trajectory would have like a full trajectory or middle trajectory or whatever, right? And every full trajectory would have a sub trajectory, right? For the you really don't understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Got it. Mm-hmm.
So we can move on?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But there's nothing, the sub trajectories don't have sub trajectories. Right.
Okay.
So the launch agreement would be the trajectory that builds agreement about the final version of the website and what is included for final launch. Okay. Right? Does that make sense?
The agreement about the final version of the website and what's included for final launch. Yeah.
I would prefer identity and image over branding. Yeah, identity and image over identity and branding.
Okay.
So segments of this would include like the logo, slogans, purpose, mission, vision, all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the details of this is like making sure we move forward with clear branding and get a public image agreed upon. This may result in a new entity we shall see. So based on what identity and image we decide to work with, that's where you deal with organizations and entities. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
if we choose an existing identity, so we can brainstorm all the different options for what identity, logo, images we want to use. If we just use an existing one, then it's basically we just continue within the same organization, the same structure of that organization. If we want to create a new brand and identity, then that identity would either need to change an existing organization name or branch, or it would need to create a new one, right? Because it all needs to fit under something.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, cool. So then the showcase website itself, let's double check on that one. So I mean, I think the showcase website itself is just literally the actual editing of the umbrella website.
Yeah. So the creation, editing, updating of the umbrella website. Right?
Yeah, I don't know. I lost the notes. It's so weird. The notes disappeared. Why did the notes disappear? It's so weird.
I'm here. I see you inside.
Oh, here it is. Okay, I found it. It's under copy of topic 2. Weird name. All right. So yeah, cool.
So segments would be, for example, the URL, the platform, this kind of thing.
Well, we don't really need to go. We don't need to really go into the segments right now. I just put the ones for the identities because they were really simple, and
Okay.
we can just delete those as long as you understand what's under identity and how the segments work. It's fine.
Yeah.
But I just want to make sure we know what each trajectory is, because then anyways, we could call it whatever we want to. What's important is that the details, and we want obviously the details to kind of match the name, etc. But the SVG website is the creation, editing, and updating of the SVG website.
Yeah. Which the current segment we are, it's the 2 over.
Yeah, exactly. So current segment 2 over. Sponsorship website. So again, this is just the creation, updating of the sponsorship website. Right. So the thing that's missing that I want to make sure we add here is the decision making on the actual sub websites, or the showcased websites would be under the launch agreement, right?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Is that correct? Yeah. Get agreement. A list of websites to complete. A list of websites to showcase, to complete, to showcase for the launch. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just make sure that's clear in the. So this checklist goes around the final version of the website and what to include for the launch, as well as a list of showcase websites. So obviously that's extremely important.
Of course.
So planning and coordination is what we're doing now. I mean, this is basically, making sure all the work, the work is scheduled, timelines, project management, etc. Blah, blah, blah. Multimedia and social media. I think we talked about this, that coordinates the overall multimedia approach between all the showcase websites as well as the umbrella site. Cool.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay.
So I thought I considered one additional trajectory, but I don't know. I guess I can't remember.
I'm reading here the notes from. I don't know, maybe a value trajectory. If you want to include it.
What would it be for?
A trajectory that organizes all the
income. We're talking about the income and everything.
Yeah, also the legal when we get the client, all these kind of stuffs. Right. how the value is how we absorb the value, how we distribute all that part. I don't know if it's part of, I mean, for each sub-trajectory, then the value is automatic there. It's part of, it's a segment, right? For we want to have like specific sub-trajectory.
Yeah, I mean, I think that definitely makes sense that we make sure it goes under something. So the question is like maybe for the short term, it could be under planning coordination in terms of the policies, right? Because it's a policy question and related to what our workflow is for the client relationships and the contracts. So
yeah, I mean, all the budgeting, the expenditures. I don't know, like general.
Yeah, that all goes under planning and coordination, includes the budget, right?
Yeah. Okay.
We're gonna go into detail into the planning and coordination right now. We have the list, but the thing that I feel like is different is this idea of the income. For example, there was income and there was methodology, right? So for income and methodology, the income, there was the the 5 income options, which included client work, fundraising, grants,
sponsorship,
investments, sponsorships, right? And then secondly, the 6th one was the merchandising or whatever.
Yeah, e-commerce.
Actually, it's part of fundraising.
Yeah, for the moment, it was part of fundraising.
But the fundraising would be like merchandising, everything, but the e-commerce would be like a separate platform, a separate thing, right? According to what you were talking about. So then the methodology is, again, a whole separate thing. So my understanding is that we did not prioritize neither the income nor the methodology in relationship to the launch. So that's an important question to understand. So the website launch itself, in my understanding, is ideally the methodology would be included in one of the showcased websites, right? So we can include the methodology somewhere in the showcase websites, but that the launch itself wouldn't necessarily need to include the methodology unless we chose to include it. And for the income, the idea of the income is that the number one best thing that we can do for income and push everything forward is to launch the website. That's the general idea, So so my understanding is that our current focus is shifting to the nonprofit budget, which the nonprofit budget is under the planning coordination, right? And all the budget and everything.
Okay.
And then focusing on the launch of the website, and the launch of the website will improve our income situation. So in terms of these 6 options, whether or how they might go into the showcase websites is something we can talk about, but it's not necessarily prioritized, because instead of prioritizing the income, we're prioritizing the launch of the website, because the launch of the website is what we're working towards, and the launch of the website is our vision for bringing in income, as far as I understand. But I see what you're saying, but again, our goal here is, in planning and coordinating and understanding the trajectory model, is that there should be as minimum trajectories as possible to achieve the goal, right? And it's sub-trajectories. So, as few sub-trajectories as possible to achieve the prime trajectory.
Okay. Got it.
Right? And then within that, it's like, my understanding is that we didn't prioritize income. That income is actually a separate trajectory from the prime trajectory.
Yeah, I mean, we are
income, but it's like we are prioritizing launching the website over the methodology and the income.
Yeah, I mean, we did that because the income is like a consequence of launching this this umbrella.
Exactly.
Work. Yeah.
Yes.
Something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
So
I think we're good. I mean, I don't know.
But I think there is something to be said. So let's say we're pulling together a model, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're pulling together a model. So we have this new showcase model. And we want the new showcase model to make us money, right?
Yeah.
There's no question. Like we're doing this, part of what we are doing, we wanted to do it through multiple things. We want to showcase ourselves. We want to look good. We want to do a cool launch.
Yeah.
We want to document and organize our methodology, but we also want to make some money.
Yeah. For
right?
the short term, it's
So we can have safe so these are all things that we believe this prime trajectory will help us do. But it does make sense, and this comes into a couple places. One is in terms of our launch agreement, where in terms of our image and identity. When we have better understanding of the image and identity of the showcase website, this will help us determine what we are in terms of building a model around it, right? And then from there, we can build agreement in relationship to what a income strategy will look like. What token is this related to? What is value in relationship to this program and the actual showcase website? How does it function? What are we offering? Anything? What happens with donations? Like all of that is very, very important to understand before we really understand how we make money, right? And then from there, I think we eventually want some type of, like, we're going to have the launch plan, but then there's some type of, I don't know, we could call it an entity plan, or a fundraising entity plan, fundraising plan, but it's some kind of a business plan, right? But the typical term is a business plan. It might end up being like a vortex plan, a Mo plan. I don't know what it's going to be or what it's going to be called, but the idea is there's some type of entity plan where you're actually understanding the business model or the value. We could call it a value plan, right? If we wanted to. I don't know what we want to call it. But the point is that there's some type of plan. The typical term is a business plan, right? So your organization has a business plan, and that business plan explains the business model for how you make money, right? So we want that. We need that to be included somewhere. I don't know if it's going to be called a business plan, but the idea would be somewhere in between the launch agreement and the identity and image will bring us there, because we need the identity and image and understanding our entity to be able to have an entity plan. Because we don't have a business, how do you have a business plan? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. So the identity and image, this may result in a new entity. We shall see, and then we can have once we have clarity on the entity, we can build an entity plan. This is like a value / business plan, which includes our income goals, right? So I think that's very important in our long-term evolution. And I think that plan relates to our launch agreement. So you could think about like everything in relationship to our identity as where it fits into the bigger picture of documentations. It's all what we call guiding documents, right? Our image and our identity is our guiding beacon for who we are and what we're representing. Then from that, you build your business plan. So your business plan for your organization, or if you're starting a business, right? Or your organizational plan or whatever, is basically becomes a guiding document where instead of just talking about your identity, you're talking about your model for how you're developing income, how you're meeting your goals, or either your social goals or your monetary goals or your shareholder goals, or whatever you're trying to achieve as an organization or a business or an entity. Or a vortex, right? So depending on the type of entity we choose, that will define our income and business model, right? Which will be, we'll get to that. So the trajectory will take us to that. So I think that goes under the identity and image trajectory, because the identity and image trajectory basically leads us to all of our guiding documents, including our bylaws, our, our purpose statement, all of that, as well as, our structure, as well as the model of our income strategy.
Cool. Okay.
So I think that goes under image and identity. So maybe the image and identity, we could evolve the name to, I would say identity and guiding, documents. You could just say that.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you think about the image and identity, our identity and guiding documents
who we
also
are.
relate to what we did last time, which was our sponsorship. Our sponsorship application, right? Or our sponsorship proposal. And the sponsorship proposal held the entirety of not just our purpose and vision, and we had the 2-pager that kind of attached to it, but it also included the equity and the ownership and the decision making. All of that was all included in the guiding document. So our identity and what we choose and what entity we choose will define what our guiding documents look like, and that also goes into our methodology. Right? So there's 2 parts of the methodology. One part is the guiding documents and the overall vision of like who and what you are, where you come from, and how you embed yourself into society. And then the second one is obviously within planning and coordination, which is just basically your policies. The difference between planning and coordination for the policies is that that's really implementing the policies, whereas the guiding documents is documenting and understanding the policies in relationship to the whole. Yeah, the whole methodology. Because methodology is way more than just policies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So does that sound good? Do we change it to identity and guiding document?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Perfect.
Awesome. And then that's where we would get eventually the sub trajectory on identity and guiding documents will take us to eventually having some sort of income strategy.
Right.
All right. Sweet. So I think we are good on having clarity. So that gives us I think it's really good to just document
4, 5, 6,
the number
7, 8.
8 sub trajectories. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool. So let's take a 5-minute break, and then we come back and get into our second topic, which is we're going to go into the segments within the planning and coordination, which is making sure the work is scheduled, timelined, project management budgets, and that we are following policy.
All right. Cool.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to go into next.
Okay. Perfect.
Yes.
5-minute break then.
Awesome.